Hey guys, this is Kat, and in this video I wanted to talk to you about altar tools and my experiences with them and how they're a part of my practice as a Wiccan and also as a pagan. So I'd have to say that my favorite altar tool is actually my Athame, which is this one here. And the reason this one is my favorite is because this is, to me, just a beautiful handmade piece of art. The handle on this Athame is made from deer bone, and then it also has copper in it, and the blade part is made from an old sword. It's not actually sharpened, which I actually am glad about, because I'm going to obviously make sure to keep it out of reach of my son when he gets older, but I still kind of like that it's not sharp just in case he ever did get his hands on it. So the story behind my receiving of this Athame is that my spiritual mentor and Wiccan teacher, he's actually a priest within Wicca who's been teaching me all about witchcraft and Wicca and helping me to learn to become a priestess eventually. He gave that to me when I had my dedication ceremony. So he handmade it for me. He's made Athames for other people too, and it's just one of his skills. He's really amazing at it. And I just love that something I get to use in all of my rituals is made by a person who basically opened the door to really allowing me to get in touch with, you know, a lot of the things about Wicca that you don't learn from books. When you read those Wicca 101 books, they talk about tools, and they mention that they're important because, you know, they have certain representations and placements on your altar and things like that, but they don't really go into all the depth and all of the meaning of the tools. And so it's nice if you can look up the history of that and sort of dig a little bit deeper. And also, I've noticed for me that, especially if I have not made a tool by hand, like I've made the statues of the Lord and Lady that I have on my altar, and I've also made a wand for myself before and a rune set and some other things. And the things that I did not hand make, that I purchased, or just maybe like found somewhere and decided to bring home, those things I find when I bless and consecrate them, it's a great chance for me to also meditate on the item and to connect with it. Because when you make something, it is in the making of it and in the conceiving of how you're going to design it that that sort of personal relationship and that bond with that tool begins to grow. And so it can be kind of jarring when you just buy something at a shop and bring it home and start using it in magic rituals, because it's not going to immediately get you tapped into whatever that tool is meant to represent. When I first began practicing, I was just using items from around my house that I already had, so I just had a random wine glass for a chalice and a kitchen knife for an Athame and things like that. But I already owned these. So I used the sun for my masculine and God representation on my altar, and then the moon for the feminine and for the goddess. So these I think I'll keep forever because they were part of my first ever altar. If you ever kind of wonder if you're the kind of person who needs to work with tools or not, I would recommend doing something that I have done a number of times. When I'm traveling and visiting people and I'm away from my stuff, and maybe I don't necessarily feel like I have the extra space to pack like traveling items to do rituals with, I have done astral rituals completely on the astral plane, where I cast a circle by like imagining myself casting a circle with my Athame or with a sword or whatever, and you know, imagining myself lighting incense and imagining what that smells like, and like just doing all the elements of ritual and getting into it completely, but all the way on the astral plane, like without doing anything physically. And it's a cool way to experiment. You can imagine yourself using different tools than you usually do and see how it feels without actually having to buy the tools first. Sorry guys, I had to change what room I'm sitting in because there's a lot of background noise suddenly going on outside, and it's coming in even through my closed windows. So yeah, visualization I think is really, really helpful in any kind of magic. So to do things, to practice using your tools but in your mind, I think is a really cool way to strengthen your connection with your tools. And on the other hand, I think that if you do have access to different types of physical tools, definitely take advantage of that and see how it feels to work with them. You know, I definitely prefer to use, like, okay, if I'm casting a circle for a group of people and it's not just for myself, I like to use a big sword. that's my favorite thing. The first time I ever used a big sword to cast a circle, I felt an incredible difference in not just the way that the casting felt, but also in the way that the energy was actually contained within the circle. And it's hard to put into words. I actually think it's like impossible to put into words, but maybe just try it out if you do have the opportunity. Yeah, sometimes in life we can just be so cerebral and so overly analytical, and even when we're trying to, meditate or do more spiritual activities, it's very difficult to get into our bodies to sort of take up all of this space instead of just kind of only occupying up here, the head, the mental area. So practicing magic and, using physical items to create spells or charms or whatever it's a really, for me, it can be really therapeutic because it gets you out of your head and it gets you into your body. And so using physical tools as an extension of your body, like holding an athame in your hand or a wand and using that as an extension of your body, really allows you to zero all of your energy into that part of your body and to get your consciousness out of here and down, flowing all throughout your whole entire physical being. And I think that's just like a really important thing to being able to get the most out of our magic and being able to get the most out of our rituals. And for me, to build a relationship with my tools is a really sacred part of my own journey. The point of tools is that, they become an extension of your body, something that helps to allow you to more efficiently access the magical side of yourself, allows you to connect to the elements even when we're not standing outside within nature with the wind blowing through our hair and things like that. Your athame can be your connection to the element of air, or whatever you want to use as your connection to the element of air can be that connection. And if somebody else doesn't get that, then that's their problem. I don't think it's materialistic to want to work with tools. I also don't think that it means that you're less powerful than someone who doesn't work with tools if you do work with tools. When you think about any other activity we do in life, like let's say you're a fisherman and you want to catch fish. You can catch fish with your bare hands. And that's a really raw, powerful experience, I'm sure, that gets us in touch with that primal side of ourselves to do that. And so sometimes it's probably great to do rituals with just your bare hands and not have a whole bunch of tools and different things. But other times, you may want to use a tool because, if you want to catch a lot of fish, probably the best way to do that is to use a net, And so, you could do it with your bare hands, but that's going to take a lot of time. It's really going to drain you. Every single fish that you catch isn't going to teach you as much as that very first fish that you caught with your own bare hands, right? So I think to use a tool, it is in some ways kind of a shortcut and a more efficient way of getting something done. But it's also smart and it's also practical. Okay, well, I definitely could say a lot more than I even have already in this video about altar tools because there's so much that I feel like I could talk about. But I'm going to leave it at this for now. And yeah, thank you so much for listening to my thoughts about altar tools. Wishing you a blessed, magical day.